The SS Central America sank on September 12, 1857, with the greatest lost treasure in United States history. We'll just start with that as a superlative statement. Millions of dollars in gold from California sank to the depths of the Atlantic Ocean, and there's no other United States lost treasure that quite compares.
We never know what we're going to face in terms of recovery until we get there, but we have a unique advantage this time because there have been explorers there before. We have an awful lot of video and still images that we've been studying at the site for the past few months. So it's the first time we go to the site with the benefit of game film, if you will. So it looks like this is going to be a pretty straightforward recovery for us, and we don't expect any challenges. It's an expensive endeavor, probably over $500,000 in fuel just to bring our ship from the UK here to the United States, not to mention all the other expenses you have. It's a 3-week transit, so it's a big commitment, but you know what, this is a really important and I think really valuable project, so well worth that investment for us.
You recovered 2 tons of gold. How much is still there?
Well, it could be equal to that. It could easily be equal to that. You know, the amount of wealth that was on this ship is staggering when you think about it. And the amount that could still be down there, it could easily be equal to what we found already, or it could exceed it.
So the ship is positioned GPS-wise, and then all of that is fed into these computers here. And we've got 4 thrusters on board, which between them they'll move the boat against the wind, against the current, all of the forces, the external forces, to keep it exactly in the position that we command it to. And then so that will be over the site of the wreck. And then from there we can launch the RV and pretty much take it down through the water column. So we've got a big area. We're looking for a shipwreck in that area, and we'll just run these lines where we're getting an acoustic image of what's on the seabed, looking for anomalies, because we can look at like 300 or 400 meters aside, so we can cover this huge swath. And this project, we're coming into it where it's already been found, so we're picking up we're going straight in with the RV to do the archaeological work on the site.
We're looking at the online room, which is the nerve center of the vessel. All of our serial communications come in and out of this room, so all the ROV instruments that collect data comes down here. All our GPS stuff comes down here, and it's all offshot to the bridge and the offline room and those places.
This is where the magic happens. Down here, during operations, the project manager, the archaeologist, the client rep, and sometimes we'll have experts that'll join in with us. We can sit and monitor the dive. We can actually control the dive as well. The ROV is controlled. I can ask the pilots to go to specific parts of the wreck to look at specific things. The ROV is configured for this job with lighting and cameras, and it'll fly along lines at a specific height, take pictures, and then you do some Photoshop magic afterwards to bring them all together.
The treasure that we recovered the first time, if you run the face value figures, 87% of it was in the form of gold bars. And then there were 7,500 gold coins, more or less. And this is going to be more heavily weighted toward the coins. So one would actually expect more coins this time around than we had the first time around.
We also want to bring back the history, the story, and the archaeology. So we'll make decisions to make sure that we're recovering relevant samples. There are certain items that are truly kind of unique, one-of-a-kind cultural heritage pieces. Those will never be sold. As I mentioned, Odyssey has over 15,000 artifacts, most of which will never be sold, that are in the lab. By contrast, trade goods, items that were mass-produced in their day and intended to be used in commerce, those are the things that will be made available to sell to collectors, because just by their very nature, they don't hold a lot of value for the archaeological record. They're mass-produced items.
So now there's been 23 years of time elapsed, and it's one of the first that anybody can remember opportunities to see what the succession rate is in the deep ocean. So it's time to see what's grown down there, and from the little bit we've seen, it's spectacular. Some of these animals are so beautiful, so delicate. So it's a great scientific opportunity, as well as to repay the investors for their long long suffering.